Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay, they come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay. They come together for one cause: to geek out. They are the Council of the Blurs. Blurred powers unite. Engage. From the far corners of the fandom universe, representing film, comics, and anime, sci-fi, fantasy, and cosplay.
Yes.
All right, I'm doing a sound check. I hear absolutely nothing on stream.
Up, yeah, we don't have sound. Crap.
Yeah, we gotta wait for the delay.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Wait, I thought I heard something.
Now you're good. Now you're good. Not that I hear.
Yep, now I hear it. So, do over.
Not that I hear.
Yep, now I hear it.
HB I'm doing like them, like, yeah, hey, what's up? I'm like HB Gibson. Did you just hear a ghost or something like that?
An extra giggle. Yeah, an extra giggle.
Oh, okay.
Not that I hear.
Yep, now I hear it.
HB I'm doing like them, like, yeah, hey, what's up? I'm like HB Gibson. Oh, let's see. Did you just?
Yeah, that's all I was just hearing.
Or something like that?
Things. An extra giggle. I have to turn it up to hear that part.
Oh, okay. Okay, let me. Oh, let's see. How do I mute that? All right. More. Yeah. Okay, so am I muting my microphone?
Not that I hear.
Yep, now I hear it.
HB I'm doing like them, like, yeah, hey, what's up? I'm like HB Gibson.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Oh, let's see. Did you just?
Yeah, that's all I was just hearing.
Or something like that?
Things. An extra giggle. I have to turn it up to hear that part.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We good?
Okay, I think we're good.
Awesome. It's funny, on Facebook Live, I could not see the comments before. I did not see them until after we had streamed. So apologies to people who had made comments on my personal live stream. I did not see them until afterwards. So we normally have better luck on YouTube. So if you are watching on Facebook and you want to ask a question or give your comments, maybe better to watch us on YouTube and use the live chat there. It's easier for us to see that chat timeline.
Yeah. Okay.
We good?
Okay, I think we're good.
Awesome.
Well, I can't. I would have to. I would have to raise it in order to hear an echo. So I don't hear an echo right now.
Before I don't hear any. I don't hear anything either. Stream. So apologies to people who had made comments on my personal.
I don't really hear much of anything
live
either. But
stream.
let me just double check here.
Yeah, it's doubling. It's doubling. So whoever has a delay is still going. So somebody who's listening to it has a delay.
Maybe better to watch it on YouTube. Mine are definitely live chat there. It's easier for us to see that chat timeline.
Technical difficulties. Fun time.
It's live. We good? Good thing the podcast gets edited, so only you live people will hear all this. The rest of it won't get it. The podcast will be edited out.
Gives you some time to get some questions together, you guys. You know, if you are watching, you know, get some questions together. Get some concerns that you may have about, you know, your upcoming conventions. Hold on. It sounds straight now, so.
I guess I am. So I suppose. No, I wasn't watching anything. I wasn't watching a thing. As a matter of fact, I don't even have YouTube. Right? Huh?
No, I'm listening on YouTube. You can hear you.
Yeah. We're still live, dude.
FYI. Just thought I should let you know.
I'm not even on YouTube. I'm not even watching it on YouTube. It's just straight Zoom over here.
I don't hear anything, and Kim stepped out for a second. But I don't hear an echo.
Do you guys want to restart it? Might be a good idea. Just saying. I blame the pandemic.
Yeah.
All right, are we good?
Just saying.
Wait, what's been happening in the past couple of weeks? Like I said, I don't hear an echo.
I blame the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's like somebody's playback is still going through.
So
I'll tell you what, I'm going to mute my microphone just to see what happens, okay? I'm just going to mute it, all right?
all right, still an echo? Kendrick? Hello? Do you still hear an echo? Huh. What about when Harold came on?
Now, remember, I muted myself. I am now unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, you
absolutely.
sound fine. Like I said, I didn't even hear an echo when you guys were hearing it. Beauty of the live cast, folks. You see all the behind the scenes crap that happens.
Oh, Lord. Let me tell you. Man, just when you think you have everything all set up on the OBS nice, you got to like reset the camera. You got to.
I mean, I don't know anything about that. I'm just the supplier of Zoom. Once again, from the top.
Oh my gosh.
Fix it in post. That's what we do.
Language.
Ken is the only person who forgets to comply with that. So
you know what? I'm not even mad. It's all good. Trust me.
There's nothing in the comments. There's actually, I'm listening.
There's no comments at all. And I have the sound muted on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, the sound is muted on YouTube?
Yes, I just muted the sound on the YouTube stream.
Okay, because it sounds like, hold on, because it sounds like there's a delay, like a huge delay between. No, I'm saying between Zoom and even the audio. So when it actually starts registering the voice, is not when you think it is. Really? So the recording, yeah. So the actual what we're seeing on camera, we'll be talking, and then it'll come in much later. So for some reason, there's a delay on top of that.
Yeah, there's always been a delay like that.
There's always a delay.
It always happens.
No, not to the sense. I know there's always a delay, but there's a delay on top of that delay. If you get what I'm saying. Oh. So there's an additional delay. So you'll see Kendrick's mouth talking, but there's nothing coming out of his mouth.
Right.
Yeah. But the thing is, it's recording, but the delay comes in. Like when I said before that I didn't hear anything, the recording came in when I said I didn't hear anything. Wow. So the sound came in then, but you were already talking by that point. So we didn't get any sound until I said something for some reason. I don't know why, but whatever.
And you see that on Zoom right now?
No, I'm seeing that on YouTube.
Oh. Yeah, because on Zoom, I'm not looking at YouTube right now. I'm seeing on Zoom, you guys are all synced up.
Yeah, on Zoom it looks good, but
no one's watching.
Whatever. Yeah. Oh, so yeah, now we have sound, so that's all good. So let's go ahead and let's get all this done. Like seriously.
Something's happening this weekend. That's it.
Yeah.
But not even that. Comic-Con tickets for New York go on sale like now. So literally they already should be on sale, ready to go. So 9 times out of 10 right now, they're looking at getting their last minute tickets in by September, by August, September. So honestly, if we don't know anything now, the possibility of something happening in October is probably going to be slim to none, to be honest.
All right. So, I've been doing some research on different things that's going on. So, in terms of San Diego Comic-Con, which was originally scheduled for this year, July 23rd through 26th, they have announced a couple of weeks ago that this year's convention is canceled and that people will have the option to either get a refund on their tickets or transfer their tickets to next year's event, which will be July 22nd to 25th of 2021. Another thing that San Diego Comic-Con is going to do is Comic-Con at Home, which will be held this summer. There's not really I haven't seen any real details about what Comic-Con at Home looks like, but how do you guys feel about a virtual convention? Would you even attend that?
In a sense, yes. In a sense, no. I honestly have friends. This is going to be the only way they're going to be able to attend San Diego Comic-Con, or would be able to attend any Comic-Con convention if that's possible, because they don't have the ability to take the time off or pay for the tickets themselves. So it actually might be beneficial to them to actually do it this way. at the same time, you kind of lose a lot of things. Like you lose the artist alley, you lose the the opportunity to get signatures on things, because you have to probably mail those things in for signatures if they do allow that process. You're gonna miss out on a lot of that interaction. Taking pictures, cosplay, all that stuff is not going to be the same. So I'm kind of indifferent in a sense. Like, yeah, it'd be good for some people, but it's going to be really bad for others.
Yeah. I mean, with San Diego Comic-Con, I was saying, all right, you know what? I watched the panels from San Diego Comic-Con once they released them on YouTube. So I guess in that sense, I would probably be interested in attending a virtual convention. But in all honesty, when I go to like New York Comic-Con, we don't go see the panels at all. You know, I'm going to a convention to show off my cosplay and to see other people's cosplay and to hang out with my cosplaying friends. That's usually because we don't get to see each other otherwise. That's usually my convention and, you know, me and Kendrick's convention experience. So for San Diego Comic-Con, I will probably do a virtual event just to watch the panels. But for other comic conventions, probably not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Next year.
Mm.
Hopefully they didn't put on a weight to not fit into it later. Because yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and most of the times I've ever, like, I think the last couple of times I've been to Comic-Con, I think I was press when I did go, and you know, it was a different experience for me because of the fact that mostly it was picking up like cosplays, picking up a panel here and there, which most of them weren't interesting as far as New York Comic-Con is concerned. I think I remember the last one I picked up, I think it was like some haunted house thing that was supposed to happen on like Halloween or something like that from the Sci-Fi Channel. But it's like most of them are not really too interesting. But it's mostly picking up the cosplay, doing a little interviews, and that's about it. And you know, trying to get your way in and out of there as quickly as possible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people that do the 4 days as well, a lot of those people are actually looking for the exclusives. Like I have, those people are usually there. And like, I know they changed the platform in the more recent times to actually make it a little bit more fair for people to get access to those exclusives. But it used to be when I was going that those people were there early in the morning, as soon as the convention opened up, to get online for their exclusives. So that way they can have their exclusive stuff, so that way they can go resell it on eBay 2 hours later.
A virtual, oh my God, a virtual con. I'm actually sitting here trying to think of how a virtual con could actually work. But going back to what Katanni and Kim were saying, the human touch is going to be gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, and I'm sitting here thinking about it, and I don't know if anybody that's watching me live, the emotions that were going through my face, it was just plain sad, because I'm like, you go there for the as far as being because I cosplay, that's basically how we all met. You want to show off your pictures. There's nothing like saying, you dressed up as Superman, and there's a Batman over there, and there's a Wonder Woman over there, and there's a Flash over there, and there's a Cyborg over there. Snyder Cut, yes. And get everybody together and do this epic Justice League photo, and exchange each other's numbers and social media information, and become friends forever. How do you do that virtually? I mean, exactly. I'm sitting there thinking, how do you do that? It would have to be by design. It would have to be a site by design. Your art alley, your panels and everything. Click here for the so-and-so panel, for the Shazam cast panel over here, or click for Dune over here, or like what's it? Go ahead.
Could you imagine, just to throw this thought process out here, because there are these forums out here, could you imagine that they do something like this, where cosplayers basically can come to show off their outfits?
Right.
I mean, you definitely can do it. You probably can't really be accomplished on a platform like this, Zoom or Skype, but there are virtual trade show sites that are built for that, where you literally recreate a trade show, but it's virtually. And that, right. That type of functionality has been around for years. It's just no one really used it because no one really cared to use it. But now, if you're forced to,
they didn't have a need to. Yeah. That makes sense.
Facebook has the rooms now. Facebook has the like rooms. I guess if they if they incorporate that type of a technology to as far as like people who want to sell their wares, and then if you actually want to shop, have a button at the bottom, so that way you could go to their their shop and see their their stuff and everything, and see what you want to buy, whether it's action figures or whatever it is that they're selling. And as far as autographs go, that really has to be set up where, like, okay, you got the celeb in front of the camera, and you get to chat with them and everything, and they can chat, just like when The Rock goes on, when he first started doing live on Facebook, he was like talking to people and answering questions and stuff. And if you wanted an autograph, then you would click the button at the bottom and choose which one to give your information, and then they can, I guess, send you an autograph. You pay with your credit card or whatever. And that's the only way that I see it doing it. And there would be all these windows, all these different, all these different tiles, these different buttons. Artist Alley featuring
See, but Artist Alley is also hard as well, because the problem with Artist Alley is that you also lose a lot of that touch. When you go into Artist Alley, it's just like being a person that usually generally frequents Artist Alley when I'm at Comic-Con. It's, you kind of lose that conversation. You don't like, because a lot of the times, like, and my friend will attest to this, there was a picture that I pulled up. I probably have to find it somewhere on one of these. There's two. There's a picture that was a Lilo and Stitch picture, but it was done by a creator named Buzz, who also did Vampirella, did a drawing for Vampirella. Didn't know that. Wouldn't have known that. Wouldn't have had, because those conversations have to come up, and between that other person that's standing there talking about it, and you're now talking to them, and you're like, hold on, I didn't know you did that. That's
the loss of the human touch. That's the one thing that you're going to lose. Yeah, with virtual.
And you're going to lose that because I may not have known. I might have liked his art when I saw it, but I didn't know who the person was until that interaction from another person came up and told me who that person was. So those things you're going to kind of lose in Artist Alley completely. Like, you may just buy the stuff because you know who that is, but like a person like me who doesn't necessarily keep track of artists, who just likes the art of everything. I would lose. I'd be like, I don't know who this person is, but I got this from them. Like, I don't like, I got the signature and I got the I'm like, I don't know who this person is, but it looks really cool. Yeah. It's
this definitely forces a lot of artists who would be in Artist Alley and does these type of conventions to think about, their business more, even if this is a side hustle for them. That the last time I went to a convention, and I just can't help it, it is the business-minded person in me. The last time I went to a convention, my friend, she bought a whole bunch of pieces from this guy, but he didn't have one of the things she bought was, one of the things she bought from him was kind of expensive. And I think she asked if he took credit card, and maybe he did, or maybe he didn't, and then she just wound up going to the ATM to grab the cash. I honestly can't remember whether or not she paid with this by credit card. But if she didn't, I think we went into the whole thing of, Square it's easy to have Square and connect it to your phone so you can take credit cards, or if they didn't have if she didn't have the cash. I think she did. I think he could take credit card. But there was something else that I was kind of led to lecture him. It was a painting and it was textured. And he didn't have a bag for the painting. He didn't even have like a piece of wax paper or a piece of plastic to put over the painting to protect it. And so I was kind of saying, like, if you want to develop this as business, you definitely want your work to be protected at least until the person gets home with it. Right. And I'm saying all that to say is that going virtual and doing things virtually is going to kind of force some of these artists to think about their things from a business perspective more. And that could be as simple as having a website so that people can, so if you do these conventions, you could just drop your link in the chat and people could easily buy from you. Or it could be as simple as, Facebook is even about to roll out Facebook shops. And, even if you just do something as simple as that and set up your shop on Facebook, you do that. I prefer, it's better in my opinion for you to have a website, but if you don't, then there are other ways to, present your stuff online and still be able to sell things online. And the thing about that is you're now online with tons of different people. What are you going to do to grab these people's attention? Yeah. And that's standing in front of you, and you're not having a conversation with them. You have to be able to keep them in your room, quote unquote, and be able.
Your art has to be able to grab their attention. It has a different effect online too.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we're looking at a piece of art online, or a print, it doesn't look the same as it looks in person by far. So you really, it's going to be a really taxing thing, even if they allow it. I don't know if any artists are even going to be doing a lot of that stuff. I know a lot of artists, what they do now is they do live streams with their own stuff, with them actually drawing stuff in order to promote their own stuff. So I do that. I know that happens a lot. So that may be an option for them outside of Comic-Con, but at that point, what draws them back to Comic-Con? Because you know they're paying for these slots as well. So a lot of times they're paying to actually be there to sell their art. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Sorry. Yeah, but the thing I was saying about the artist, though, what I'm saying, what keeps you there is probably, and this is kind of where I'm going with this, because we're talking about this like it's going to be an open platform. More than likely, it's not. This is probably going to be a closed platform. So it's probably going to be for a limited amount of people that were actually scheduled to go for those days or scheduled to go for that time frame. So we might be looking at, a couple thousand people, or, that were already paying for this product and are now getting it online. That not everybody's going to have access to this, or be able to have access to this. So to do a platform like that, and especially for artists, is it beneficial for them to actually do it through that platform, or is it beneficial for them to actually go through a live streaming process to actually say, I'm just going to do this on my own. So I'm paying for a ticket anyway. I have to pay for a place in here anyway. What's the difference? There's no guarantee, there's no return on my profit, because that's the one draw about Comic-Con is that, I'm sorry, I know last year they switched the place of where the artist alley was. I believe it was before, it was in that small corner in New York Comic-Con, at least, in that small corner on the side, and they put it down more in a more centralized location where they used to do the meet and greets and stuff like that.
I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
the entrance, well, not like the back entrance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm like, so they change the area and make that a little more centralized. So people are now noticing it. They're going, oh, what is this? So they're going to now go down there and see that. That would draw people down there, or draw people to do something else. I'm like, that's what the convention do. It kind of moves the traffic around in circles to kind of get everybody around the convention center, the places they would never really go.
Yeah.
When you're looking at an online platform, how do you keep people in a place or looking at stuff long enough to actually look at your product at all? If, I go online and I'm being bombarded by shops that are trying to sell their product, then I'm being bombarded by, people that want me to pay for autographs, and it's going to get lost in there pretty much.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because it's going to be too much information. Like, it's one thing to go to the convention and kind of walk past it. I'm like, okay, no problem. You can keep it moving. I'm like, it's another thing when you're online that can be kind of, especially being online for a very long time. It's one thing to be on your feet all day. It's another thing to be staring at a screen all day. It can be very taxing because you're just sitting there.
Yep.
So, and then, the other thing that at least I know New York Comic-Con did, that they did a lot of activities. Like, I know when I went the last time, it was like some Harry Potter thing that was happening or whatever, and things of that nature. How do you do that now? How do you continue that stuff going on when it's going on online?
Right.
a lot of the draws, people were meeting their favorite cosplayers that they met online, or people that they're meeting their favorite, YouTubers, stuff like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mm. Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think that's when we get notified because I looked. We bought those tickets in June last year, and
mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying around. That's what I was saying around this time, because usually around it's like May, June.
Yeah.
May, June, we usually have the ticket sales. July, but we usually get the notice about the people that haven't been to Comic-Con or haven't actually gone through the process. What they usually do is that if you ever register prior, they give you the opportunity to be one of the first people on the list of actually buy those actual tickets. So you actually I forgot what they call it, but like it's a pre-registration process. You just renew your email every single year.
Right.
And
yeah.
Yeah, the fan verification. So you just and renew your email. And what it does is that it puts you on the list to go for the pre-sales. So then that in itself is a world full of like waiting in line for an hour. I mean, I think the shortest I've ever waited in line for Comic-Con, I think I got in it exactly the 99.9 59.99. Got in exactly the queue at that very moment, and I still had to wait an hour, to get in. So
it was an hour. It's an hour. It's an hour or an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like that was the quickest I got in. It was an hour, and that was back in the day when scalping was a big thing. Like you would buy tickets just to resell them. Like that was a big thing then. So I'm like, so you talking about trying to get a 4-day pass? It wasn't gonna happen.
The virtual queue, I tell you, man. I mean, I'll never forget. I think it was 9 o'clock in the morning. I set my alarm for 9 o'clock in the morning to get myself on that virtual queue, and I sat in front of that computer like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's just say that I had to, accommodate my facilities, if you get my meaning. And because if I would have got up and went, and I would have missed my turn. So
and it was very quick. It was very easy to do it because as soon as you didn't type anything for like long enough, it would time out on you, so you didn't have to get back in line. So it was like it was one of those moments where, and it got really bad. I mean, that one year, and it was kind of funny because I ended up having to sell my ticket anyway because I ended up getting a press pass. That was that year. I ended up getting a press pass anyway. So it was like I had a ticket, but now I had to get rid of my ticket because I had a press pass and I had to now use my press pass. But it was, to have that, to sit there for that long, to kind of throw that out there. I'm like, okay, yeah, well.
Yeah. Do you have a virtual commode?
I'm like, because it's literally, you can't move. You cannot sit there, and you're just sitting there waiting, and they don't give you a time frame. They don't tell you anything. You're just waiting. You're just sitting
bathroom, click here.
Ken and I would go in on both of our laptops, and we said whoever would get in first
buys all the tickets.
We buy the tickets for us and whoever our group of people is.
Yeah, you buy all the tickets. That's how it works.
Well, that was a way to do it. You'll go to the bathroom, sit, and have the laptop and table and everything. You're good.
Or just use the bathroom with the bathroom open. Bathroom door open. Make a run for it when you see the screen change. But,
it was inconvenient, but the most fun memories.
But but that's how, but I mean, they changed it recently with the new one. So they have, if you are already registered, you get into the pre-qualifies, and everything else that's left over kind of goes for open sale after that point.
Right.
So
we participated in pre-sale and the open sale last year because we also had to get tickets for our friends who had never been to a Comic-Con before.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I almost lost my mind because I thought I wasn't going to be able to get Kendrick's ticket because, I don't know, something happened and his email or something wasn't working, but I finally got it. I had to buy his separately, which also made me sweat bullets, but we made it.
Yeah, and that was another thing they added last year for New York Comic-Con is that every ticket has to be, which they were doing with San Diego anyway, every ticket had to be registered to a person.
Yes.
So you literally had to, if you bought a ticket, it had to have a name and email address, attached.
No, yeah.
And, and that was...
That was the issue because there was going to be 4 children. I think you could only register like 2 child tickets per adult.
Oh.
So 2 tickets went to my friend and her fiance. 2 tickets went to 2 of the kids. And then another ticket went to, and then because the other ticket wasn't a child ticket, because they were, because one of the kids was over 12, it was so confusing. I'm like, what if I have 5 kids? What if I'm a single parent and I want to bring my 5 children to Comic-Con? You're telling me I can't do that?
Yeah. I mean, and that will honestly, and that's probably one thing that I think a lot of us would alleviate by going virtual. Is that if you're talking about all this, with the queues and the line and everything else, I think a lot of that will be alleviated when you do the virtuals, virtual conventions and things of that nature. I mean, you won't have the fun stories anymore, but it'll be, something to get through. You might have to wait in line to actually get your ticket to get for that day.
Yeah.
But you're taking your whole family for one price. I hate to say it that way, but you're taking your whole family for the price of one.
Well, they actually haven't announced whether or not they are going to sell tickets to this virtual con because they're either processing refunds or they're transferring badges to next year.
Yeah.
They didn't say whether or not that this virtual convention is going to be free. It sounds like it's going to be. For example, I know Adobe Max, which is, it's not comic related, but Adobe Max is doing their convention for free. And I am so happy because that ticket is $1,300. And I'm going. And I'm going to Adobe Max. That's probably the only way I'll be able to get to Adobe Max.
And that's what I'm saying with a lot of these people that have never been to a Comic-Con or anything like that. I think this is probably going to be the closest a lot of people are going to get this year. And then probably push a lot of people to go next year, to that. But even then, on that particular aspect, if, they open this up next year, how many of you guys are going to Comic-Cons?
We'll have I know that there are places that have, some guidelines in place and, you either have to do it half capacity or even 25% capacity. I will tell you that if New York Comic-Con is still going on this year, and if it's going to be the same capacity that it has been,
it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. First of all, Comic-Con has, from the first time I've been to Comic-Con, and I probably have to go look at my past to see what year that was. From the first time with the Comic-Con until now, I think amount of people showing up has been ridiculously tripled. For some reason, it has like gone through. I know like Marvel had a lot to do with it. You know, the Marvel movies still had a lot to do with a lot of this was going on. But I mean, it's like capacity every single day. It doesn't matter what day you go. It is capacity. Like you can't get down the stairs at least in the Jacob Javits. You can't get down the stairs sometimes. Like you're trying to push down escalators. People are standing wherever. It's a mess. And I don't like if they even operated at a quarter of the capacity, I might think about going. You know, if they're half the capacity, cool. I might think about going. You know, because at that point, I think I can tolerate it.
Yeah.
I used to never find much use for the quiet room before, but I tell you, thank God for that quiet room.
Because it's a sensory overload. It's like it's too many people. Yeah. It's too much going on. I mean, I don't know about you, how many people have been touched and they, you know, didn't want to be touched. I don't like being touched. Don't touch me. Especially if I don't know you, don't touch me.
There you go.
So it's, you know, it's definitely a sensory overload, and it can, you know, a lot of times, you know, people can be rude, people can be nice. You know, it can get hot.
Oh yes.
It can get really hot in certain areas. It's just like, oh my gosh, what happened?
Yeah,
it was warm.
That's where the term of endearment that was created by the late great John Schnepp. He called the nerds and the geeks over at the conventions sweaties because it got hot.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I need to like sidebar really quick. Do we remember the first con where you and Kendrick met, where you and Kendrick and I first met? Newark Comic Con.
Oh, the outdoor one?
100 degrees out. I'm like, whose bad idea was this?
That was
on y'all for going, because I wouldn't have been out there.
Well, it's a certain councilman that who will remain nameless. Let's just say, and like I don't know if he just wanted to just do a con just because it was a popular thing or getting big, because I swear I met him the first time over at I'm telling all the business. I'm sorry, I don't care. It's East Coast Comic-Con. I ran into him and I was Nick Fury, eye patch, shield patch. Now, I'm not mad at anybody that's just not into it, and maybe it's just your first time and you're not familiar with the characters. But twice, bro, I mean, I'm let's say so you're let me get, so you're Luke, no, not Luke, nothing, Nick. And then when I did do Luke Cage over at Newark Comic Con in the outdoors, he says, so you're Nick? No, we've been through this before, bro. I'm Luke Cage. That was Nick Fury. You're getting them all mixed together. That's when I knew that the guy just was not, had no idea.
It wasn't for the love of being.
It wasn't. It wasn't.
Being in
it's politics.
So wait, so let me get this straight, because I wasn't at this thing, so I don't know. And I probably would never go to an outdoor con ever because I don't tan.
Outdoors. The first
fee, fi, fo, fishing boy, I hate a politician. Okay, go ahead.
The first Newark Comic Con, and for those of you out there listening, we're talking about a comic convention in Newark that was taking place in Newark, New Jersey. The first Newark Comic Con was held at a hotel that's pretty famous, in, quote unquote, in Newark, called the Robert Treat Hotel.
That went okay.
Indoors in a nice air-conditioned room. But they changed venues. I didn't know about this venue. I didn't know it was going to be outdoors. I just thought we were in a different venue. But when we get to the venue, there's no roof. And it's August. And we're in full cosplay. I'm wearing
jersey.
I'm wearing this shiny, spandexy, hot, misty night thing, and with the arm that Misty Knight has and all this other stuff, and I was miserable. We found that iron fist that wanted to take a picture with me, and I did not want to take any pictures because I'm miserable and I'm hot.
Yeah.
It was terrible. Wrong.
Had potential.
It was good. It was good. I had to give that to him. He did that right.
That's 10 minutes away.
Right. Right.
In August.
Rocky Johnson. When I was introduced to Rocky Johnson, I don't know if it was the person that did the convention, who put the convention together. I guess he introduced me to Rocky Johnson. I wasn't sure, but he said, yeah, Harold, this is Rocky Johnson. I shook his hand. I said, pleasure to meet you, sir. And he looked at me. He was like, man, I don't see how y'all do it out here. Pleasure to meet you, my man. I don't see how y'all do it out here. That was the last words that was said to me by the late great Mr. Rocky Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I mean. It's like stuff like that. I mean, I can totally see like at that point, like why that would go online. But a lot of these smaller conventions, not just New York Comic Con, a lot of these smaller conventions, I think are going to suffer a little bit more because I don't think they have as much as the resources that New York Comic Con would have. So, and I know like not just in Jersey, probably in many other states, they have like smaller conventions that, are kind of like the same thing. People go cosplay, look for their stuff, look for their favorite artists, things like that. And it doesn't have to be just for comics, be horror, anything else. There's all these conventions that go on. Yeah.
There's Walker Stalker. There's Wizard World. There's Heroes and Villains is cool, I think. They didn't even do any conventions this year, and I think that's really because that was kind of Stephen Amell's thing, and since he was quitting Arrow, I guess he decided, why am I still going to do this convention? So, but yeah, what Kim was saying, that not having the money or resources, even putting on a virtual conference will cost money. I put on virtual conferences for my business. I find myself, having to upgrade this and buy that and all these other things, just to put the conference on the way it needs to be. And, other people may not have that type, that money, the money or resources to do that.
Right. Or they're dependent on the people buying their seats pretty much.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of that thing. It's like you're dependent on those people to come in and buy their chairs and buy their tables just so they can come in there and sell their product or to promote their product or do their signatures and stuff like that. So that way you can get in big names. And
in
all honesty,
don't let me win the Powerball, y'all. I'll tell you. Let the COVID thing be over and let me win the Powerball. Newark would have a convention to remember. Trust.
I mean,
I'm gonna hit you up, Harold. We're gonna put something together. If you don't have the money, I'm talking to you. Raise it.
Okay. All right.
But
all right.
As far
okay.
As,
yeah, raise it.
But as far as like like those people, the smaller conventions, like you said, like your like even the conventions that are in Jersey, like these smaller ones that are going on right now. We were talking about a few of them earlier that a lot of them are just not going to be able to sustain next year, and a lot of them are doing the same thing where they're either next year you can put your tickets to next year, or you can just get a refund entirely, and that's fine and all. That's fine and dandy, but the Sorry. That's fine and dandy, but you ever just get a text message and like you read it and you're like, really?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, but it's like, you know,
last broadcast. Yeah.
But you know, it's you kind of want them to work, but you hope that they can bring in the same, you know, people information that they had last year or the year prior, being that they missed out on a lot of income this year.
Yeah.
You know, so it's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
No, I was saying that there are a lot of conventions around the United States on a smaller scale who definitely have decided to cancel or at least postpone until later on in the year. But one person or one state who has decided not to do that, or not state, the city of Tampa, Florida. Tampa, between July and October, was going to be the host city of 32 conventions. And all 32 are going to go on as planned, including the ones in July. What do you guys think about that?
Okay, so I have something to say about that, because how many of these people, okay, these conventions are going to go on. That's fine and dandy, but how many of these artists, these guests are going to come and show up for these conventions, actually going to travel to Florida to actually come here and be around a bunch of people that may or may not be infected with this thing?
Yeah.
You know, am I going to take a mask with my picture? I'm going to take a picture of my mask on, so that way you know who I am.
It's funny, know, they actually didn't mention anything.
Yeah, this is me and Henry Cavill. You know,
when I researched, they actually didn't mention anything about autographs and pictures with guests. You know, they did say they're going to be some social distancing guidelines. They're going to take people's temperature. Anybody who has a temperature will not be allowed in. Now, before I continue, let's talk about that first part right there. We've already experienced, or we've already witnessed people getting shot just for being told that they had to wear a mask. So
no,
there you go.
What security measures are going to be in place for these temperature takers when they have to tell somebody that they can't go in?
Or do they have to wear a mask in this convention, or no? Because that's my question. That's gonna dictate the answer I'm about to get right now.
Oh man,
it does not say.
Because if you're telling me I can't have a temperature, but I totally could be coughing all day long and not wearing a mask, you know, I mean, I'm totally going to sub-zero at that point, because that way I could just cover my mouth all day.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm like, it's legitimately irresponsible to have that many people. Like I said, unless you're going to limit the amount of people that are going in, which they probably already sold 95% of these tickets to these conventions already. Unless you're going to limit these people coming into your facility to a certain amount of time or a certain time frame, you're pretty much going to expose every single person going to those conventions to each other.
And unfortunately, there's nothing about that. And this is specifically Tampa Bay Comic-Con, by the way. So the Tampa Convention Center, they have said they're going to increase the cleaning and disinfection procedures in high traffic areas like elevators, escalators, handrails, benches, tables, handles, restrooms, and all of that. They're going to put hand sanitizing stations all over a place. And then the exhibit halls and ballrooms and meeting rooms will be limited with one-way ingress and one-way egress, you know, into hallway spaces.
Which is always dumb themselves, because people
they don't say to what, they just say it'll be limited.
But that's the thing, is that they're talking about limiting the walking space. Like, they do that in the supermarket, and you know how people still walk in the wrong direction?
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I don't look at those arrows. And when
I'm not paying any of mine.
Crap, I'm going down the wrong.
But I'm halfway down the aisle before I realize, oh, the arrow's facing the wrong way. I'm like, but what I needed was right here at the entrance to this aisle. Why am I going to walk down all the way down this aisle, come all the way back down the other aisle, but I literally can just walk in this aisle real fast and grab what I need?
Right.
Yeah, I did that purposely as well, simply because no one else was in the aisle. So I just went.
So, and I'm looking at the celebrity guest on the list. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm looking at the Tampa Bay Comic Convention, and they have Tom Felton on Saturday and Sunday for autographs and photo ops. Kevin Nash for autographs and photo ops. Kel Mitchell.
He's everywhere.
Walter Jones. Which if anybody doesn't know, it's the Black Power Ranger.
Yeah.
They should know.
Zach.
Uneducated. They've been
hip hop keto.
All right, so we got Super Shredder, the Black Power Ranger. Who else you said?
Tom Felton.
Draco Malfoy.
Yeah. Paul Bettany, I think is his name.
Vision.
That's what I saw. Yeah, Vision. I don't even know who this guy is. Jeremy Ray Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
A bunch with again with a bunch of people that did voiceovers for a lot of shows, for a lot of characters. And then you have comic creators that are supposed to be coming. So, like, I'm looking at this list, and so far there's nobody on their cancellation list. Right? I don't know about you, but this is July. This is supposed to be going on July 10th to the 12th. It's only a couple days.
In 2 months.
I don't know about you, but I think that cancellation list is going to get a lot longer.
Yeah.
More than likely, yeah.
More than likely.
I definitely believe that definitely likely that it's going to happen because...
Especially if you're talking about photo ops.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I can't imagine. Let me actually go get my mask real fast. Hold on. Always have one on hand. Excuse me.
Looking at that 6 feet. That 6 feet of separation is a real thing out here.
Yeah. I mean, are you going to take the now 6 feet apart and do like a thumbs up to each other? Like, what are you going to do?
Just going to be out here like...
It's really me. It's really me.
Yeah.
Do a Sky 5 or something. I don't know how they're going to do this. Like, what?
You're going to take a picture in a mask next to a celebrity in a mask and be like, yeah, that's Draco
Malfoy.
It's just me. That's me and Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
you can't tell the eyes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the pictures that I have with celebrities and stuff. I like that. That we're our arms around each other, like we're best friends for 10 seconds. I like that.
And
sometimes legitimately you are best friends for 10 seconds because a lot of these celebrities are just nice like that.
Yeah.
Like I'm still dying to get a picture with Jason Momoa just because I've heard he's wonderful.
Yeah.
Get out my head. I was like, he says, well, I guess there won't be any Jason Momoa moments. I was getting ready to say that. Get out my head.
I'm like, but it's true. I'm like, I heard he's a wonderful person in real life. But I'm like, it's one of those things is like, I'm looking at this list and I'm like, I wouldn't, as an actor, I would not want to be that close because I wouldn't want to risk my life.
Right.
Yeah, and you're touching thousands of people in the day.
Yeah.
But I don't know where these people's careers are at this point either. So I don't know.
I guess like, especially, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, like, for instance, Kel Mitchell. I'm not too sure what he's been doing since then. No, he and Keenan both. Huh?
Does he have a show?
He has a. I don't know if he still has a show, but I know there was one on. I forgot what station it was, but I know he had a show. I don't know if he still has it. I'm not quite sure because.
I don't know. Let's look at IMDb because.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing right now. I couldn't afford to do a show.
You know my type.
He does a lot of appearances. I remember he was going to do a bar crawl, a 90s bar crawl. I actually said I kind of want to do that, and I don't even drink like that. But I'll go bar hopping with Kel Mitchell. That would be cool. It was only $20.
The only series that I've seen him in was a show called Game Shakers.
Yeah, I think that's.
He's doing the new. He's on the new All That.
Yeah, but that's not really it's not.
Like, it's not like a full-time thing, or I think he just like makes appearances and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like in that.
Yeah, but that Game Changer show, that's the last. The Game Shakers, that's the last thing I literally seen him in, like where he was like like a part of the cast and stuff.
Like a rehash.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're looking at it, and I'm like, I'm not sure where their careers are at this point. Like, if that's really like it's a necessity that they need to be there, or if they just really, need
the money,
just want to go to a if that's basically where I'm at right now. So I'm kind of saying is that if that is really a driving factor to what they're actually doing to this.
Because like you mentioned Kevin Nash, like he ain't wrestling. First of all, I know that for a fact he ain't wrestling.
Yeah.
Actually, this is what he does because in fact he was there last year. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. For some of you guys who don't know, I think Mick Foley might have been at New York Comic Con last year, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, definitely Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. I think Mick Foley. I think another wrestler was there last year too. But it's like they're not really doing anything at the moment right now. They may make a pop appearance at like a WWE event or something like that. But other than that, they're not really doing much of anything. I mean, hell, I don't think it was last year, but I know one New York Comic Con we just ran into Manu Bennett just chilling in the cut. Like he just had a booth. Like
he had bought his own table and just mixed himself in with the commoners.
Like he didn't have no panel. He wasn't at no meet and greet section. He just straight up had his own booth and it was just chilling. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, John Schnepp had the same thing too. I think not last year, the year before, the New York Comic Con year before, he had his own little table and stuff set up and stuff. It was like, I mean, I guess it depends.
I feel like these actors are probably saying like, you know what? No one wants to promote me. I'll promote me.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
And you know what's funny? I'm looking at Kel and I'm looking at Walter's IMDb's, and I'm noticing they're actually on the same show. There was a show called Grindhouse Radio. They were both on the same show.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah,
Walter,
so I found that pretty interesting.
I know Walter's
usually just because when it comes to these actors, usually just because you don't hear about them anymore doesn't mean they're not working.
Yeah.
That's why I had to look it up. Yeah, that's definitely why I had to look it up because I wanted to see for myself if they have been doing anything that's been like remotely lucrative, or if they just making appearances. Because that could be also a thing. I'm like, and Draco Malfoy apparently is working. There's a post-production, a couple post-production movies that he was in. I keep calling him Draco because that's what I know him as. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I do apologize. But but he's had a couple post-production movies. So I'm like, I'm not sure where their lifestyle is or what's going on with that. But like I said, I can see that in not even a couple months, within the next month or so, maybe a few people dropping out, if not, at least half. Because I don't think any person would want to risk their life at this point. But at the same time, Florida's rates also have gone up since they opened back up.
Well, that's Florida. Florida's special. Okay, let's just say that Florida's very special.
Well, no, let's itemize this. Anything outside of Disney World, Universal, Orlando area, where the gators cross the road, that's when it gets a little strange.
Yeah.
They're special.
Yeah, but yeah, they have gone up. But I can get, Florida's one of those states as well where it's very much about beach life. It's very much about party life. It's very much about getting out, and it's a different type of state. It's not the type of state we live in. We don't live in that type of state. New York is close. New York is about that life too, but New Yorkers are also a little bit more street savvy in that particular sense because they have to afford to live.
Yeah.
So they have to be able to live first to afford to live.
Yeah.
I have stories from Miami that will not be discussed on the show. Let's just say that it's that kind of live.
We need to do a council after dark or something.
Yeah,
adults only.
Yeah, I went on a solo mission and I found what I was looking for. Let's just say.
Oh goodness. But I mean, definitely, I can see that. Like I said, a lot of these places, like you said, Florida. I don't know why. Is it the only state that's still doing theirs, or?
From what I've seen, yeah, they were the only people who said that Tampa Bay Comic-Con is going on as planned. Everywhere else, Illinois, Ohio, Philly, other states, WonderCon is doing something for home. That's in that's in California, and other conventions. Let's be honest. Other conventions aren't as large as San Diego or New York Comic-Con. These other conventions are on a small scale. Ace Comic-Con, I actually forgot to look up, because Ace Comic-Con, even though they are getting pretty large, they tend to pull pretty large, pretty high profile guests. They're still pretty new, so I actually forgot. Sorry, I've actually forgot.
No, I'll look it up right now.
Look them up right now.
And
but yeah, these smaller conventions, these mid-sized and smaller conventions, are pretty much either postponing until like November, December, or canceling altogether and postponing until next year.
Let's see, Ace Comic-Con.
So while Tim is looking up for that, I want to talk about New York Comic-Con, because we have not heard a peep from them. Like, nothing. And I know we touched on this before. Do you guys think that they should have at least put out a statement saying what their plan could or could not be?
Absolutely.
Well, like I said, we got the email, and instead of getting the verification, at least I know the email I got was more so asking me what I want to see, instead of, hey, are you going to verify for your tickets? So I'm thinking that they're leaning more towards that. But they're just not making the statement as of yet. They just probably want to see how San Diego goes before they actually even announce if they're going to do it, or they're just going to cancel it altogether.
I mean,
what I did, I looked on the Jacob Javits Center's website instead of going to, since I couldn't find anything on Comic-Con. Jacob Javits Center, as of right now, is going to resume all of their events in August, including the New York Auto Show, which is normally in April.
Yeah.
They pushed it to August, and so far it looks like it's still happening. And then they do have Comic-Con listed there. So it looks like any as far as the Javits Center is concerned, any event from August on is going to go on as planned.
I guess they're just doing it as a play-by-ear type of deal. I mean, much like San Diego, there's probably going to be whatever celebrities that they had planned coming there. They're probably going to either confirm whether they're still going to come or confirm whether or not they're going to be there. I mean, I know the time is moving pretty fast, but it's still a ways until October. A lot of things can happen between now and then. More than likely, I wouldn't be surprised if we probably don't hear something until August.
Which will still be kind of jacked up, because it's going to be the mad dash for people to get tickets.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to do it.
I would.
You also have to think about, the contracts that they have with these venues.
Yeah.
I know there's a Teen Wolf convention that I work with and volunteer for. So when this first happened, and that convention was supposed to be in June. When this first happened, I guess they were probably getting bombarded with emails, in terms of what's going to happen? Are you still going on? Can I get a refund and things like that? That they actually put out a statement saying that we know that we hear you, and we know that you've been doing, but we honestly can't even make a decision until we get word from the hotel. They say, because they were going. I said they were They're hosting a convention at a hotel, right outside of Newark Airport. And in my opinion, I think that was the right move for them to at least say something. People are probably wondering what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Even if you put out a statement saying that we can't make a decision right now, we have to wait to see what the Javits Center says, and we have to wait to see if the governor's going to allow us to open up again.
Right.
And by the way, the only thing I see on ACE so far was the past thing that was done, and that was already postponed because it was in March, so it was in the middle of the whole nonsense. I don't see any upcoming dates for ACE at all.
Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to kind of like cut it short because I got to watch the dog.
Okay.
So I got to take care of the dog. So.
Okay.
All right. Listen, it was real. See y'all next week. And let's just hope that with this new normal, if you want to call it that, there'll be some kind of a way we can get back to where we were. Mm-hmm. So I'll see you guys next time. All right.
All right. Later.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. So.
But that was pretty much all I had, in all honesty, in terms of conventions. I'll say a good portion of them are canceled. They ain't doing them this year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and isn't the Javits Center still being held as a hospital right now?
I actually don't know. I haven't looked at it in a long time, but they don't even mention anything about that on the site. They just
because I thought
they're resuming events as far as they stand, August 1st, their events are resuming. But that could change.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the website now, and it says, is NYCC still happening? Yes, there's currently no plans to postpone or cancel it. So right now they're saying yes, but they did put in a statement, if it does happen and the badges go on sale, but the Comic-Con is postponed or canceled, they are issuing refunds or transferring. No, they're not issuing refunds. They're automatically canceling. They're automatically transferring to new dates. If it's a postponement, if it's canceled, they're getting a full refund.
That would suck though, because some people plan their vacations around Comic-Con. People travel. People come in from all over the country, possibly even the world, to attend New York Comic-Con and San Diego Comic-Con. That means they have flights, they have hotels, and they have all of these things, and you can't just move you can't just move all those things to a new date because you said so.
And when that's the case, then according to them, then you would have to resell them through their authorized seller.
Wow.
So it sounds like they're not sure what's going on. And it's we're still having it, but according to what I understand, it's still Javits Center is still being used as a hospital right now anyway. Which is why I looked it up at the same time because I just thought about it. I mean, that would make me uncomfortable as well.
Yeah.
Going to the Javits,
Yeah.
That this was, I hate to say, it's not saying like anything bad, but this was held, like they used this place to kind of hold high-risk patients.
Yeah.
I'm like, so...
You're going to fumigate that or what? What y'all know? Huh? How that's going to work?
Yeah, like how much sanitation can we do? Because this is a big, huge place. Like you're talking about, and anybody who hasn't been in the Javits Center, it's a huge convention center. It's like, I can probably...
Pretty much.
What do you call those lifts again? I used to get on the one when I used to work at the movie theater. You have to get on one of those lifts to get to the ceiling, type of thing. Like it's huge. I'm like, and they hang stuff from the ceiling, so I can imagine a person standing on the top of that thing, freaking hanging some massive, Goku from the ceiling.
Right.
So, at what point? How do you keep that sanitary? How do you keep the air circulating in there to keep it sanitary? I don't know. It's a weird situation, but from what it looks like, it's still going on. They still have plans for it to go on, but they haven't put out. ReedPop has not put out anything. Which let me look at ReedPop actually now that I'm thinking about it. Let me look at ReadPop to see if they have any information about ticket sales, because I don't see anything about that either.
So the big question is, if Comic-Con goes on this year, do you even want to go? I'm going to say no for two reasons. One, I still didn't lose the weight I wanted to lose. So I'm not trying to put on cosplay. And two, last week when we discussed the whole amusement parks, and they're going to be running at either half capacity or 25% capacity, I actually said I was curious to see how that would go, because a much less crowded theme park would be right up my alley. This, where they don't even talk about any type of crowd control that they plan on doing, I don't know if I want to go.
Yeah. But the same thing is that you're talking about an open air venue versus a closed venue as well. So you're talking about a closed convention venue, which are two different things. So it's two different types of contamination levels. Like basically you're walking into basically a cesspool.
New York City,
and the thing is that in New York City, basically, from a lot of people that don't know either, New York City is pretty much dirty. One of the highest death rates right now because of the pandemic. So it's very much a risk within itself for travel. How many people are going to get on planes to come here? People are not going to be flying as often to get down there because people are afraid of contracting it on the plane. But I'm looking at ReadPop's statement that they put out on April 14th. And what they're saying, the CDC standard recommendations, that's what they're going by, is basically avoid close contact with people that are sick. But with this, you don't know who's sick. You'd have no clue.
Again, we're talking about gangster New Yorkers. Are you going to tell somebody that you can't come in a place? Because if I worked for Javits Center, I'm not doing that.
No.
I'm not stopping somebody who might punch me in the face for telling them that I can't come, that they can't come in.
And it's because they have a fever, whatever the case may be. And they're like, wash your hands often. I'm like, no offense, the Javits Center is not very keen on having bathrooms in accessible places.
They're probably going to put hand sanitizing stations all over the place like everyone else.
I'm like, because the bathrooms are not, and as a woman, we all know, we wait a lot longer than men for bathrooms. And it's a lot longer at Comic-Con because everybody's in cosplay. So they got a lot more layers to take off. And they're saying cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue and throw the tissue in the trash. So basically you're telling me if I have a cough, I'm allowed in. Well,
allergies.
As an allergy sufferer, I totally understand that. But as an allergy sufferer, I'm not walking around with a Costco-sized box of Kleenex either.
Yeah. And people also, again, people ready to fight you just for coughing.
Exactly. I'm not walking around with a Costco-sized box of Kleenex and an industrial-sized sanitizer on my back. I have enough stuff to carry already. I don't need all that in my life right now. And especially, if you are cosplaying, you're wearing as little as possible to go with your cosplay. So you're carrying as little as possible. Maybe a backpack, a side pouch, something like that. But you're not carrying bags and bags of stuff.
Right.
Clean and fuss, disinfect, frequently touch objects and surfaces. That's something that they would have to hire extra people to do. And imagine, how can you even do that when you have vendors? People are popping from vendor to vendor to vendor, touching everything, especially Artist Alley.
Don't pick up my things, don't touch my stuff.
Exactly.
They want to touch it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm in Artist Alley and I'm just popping from one place to the other. I'm going to want to touch everything. And when I get done touching everything, what are you going to do? Clean off the cloth that's on your desk?
Right.
And then there's the video game stations.
Oh,
Lord. The escalators going down the stairs.
Yes.
It's impossible to clean after every person touches the banister. It's not going to happen.
No. So I'm like, I want to see
being on the subway.
Well, I usually don't take the subway. I take the more expensive route. I take the ferry.
NJ Transit, since we're popping over from New Jersey, but even that, I
take the ferry. I don't even take NJ Transit because the ferry puts you right there in front of the Javits Center.
Oh yeah.
But you pay a lot more for it because you got to pay for parking and then you got to pay for the ferry ticket. But it's worth it just to be able to pop back and end up right there in front of your car and ready to go. But you're also in Fort Lee.
Yeah, we're not far from Fort Lee.
Yeah, Fort Lee. So it's like you're basically there. So it's like you I would totally say, like, traveling wise, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be, I don't know how people are actually gonna buy tickets if they're gonna get the same type of expectations. We're not even gonna know who's gonna show up this year.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the hidden things about Comic-Con, is that Comic-Con is one of those things where the vendors have until July to say, hey, I'm going to show up. What happens when I pay, the $100 and something for my ticket and I literally have only 20 people in Artist Alley and, 20 people in Artist Alley and the rest are like, oh gosh, I can't stand my friends. 20 people in Artist Alley, and then you have nobody coming in for meet and greets, or maybe one person coming in for meet and greets, and then you don't have people doing signatures. Or if you do have people doing signatures, they have like this whole setup where it's going to take a lot longer for you to get there, so it's not going to be worth your time, or you're going to go buy merchandise. Merch is, especially the merch vendors, you go, and everybody knows, you go into their stores are usually these little pop-up tents and you kind of walk through them, but you're touching everything. What happens when you're only going to have merch vendors and nobody else show up?
Yeah, that's going to be rough. So
because how do I get my money back then? Because I'm not going to want to go if that's all I have to look forward to.
Right.
They're not going to give you. It sounds like they're not going to give you your money back unless they cancel it.
Exactly.
And it sounds like, based on what you said and based on the couple of things I just looked up right now, it sounds like they're going to try really hard not to cancel it.
Yeah. I'm thinking this probably something to do with the Javits. It probably has to do something with the Javits. Must have to. But
yeah, I imagine it's a nightmare to try to get out of their contract.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, but it's really sounding like less and less of a appealing opportunity because of the fact that looking at the conventions, I was actually looking at some of the conventions that are going in Florida right now and looking at some of the talent that's supposed to be going there, and I'm like, I don't even know who half these people are.
Well, smaller conventions don't usually pull high profile talent anyway.
I know, but still, it's like, so I can't imagine Comic-Con going through it and these big name celebrities risking their careers to kind of go to these places,
I don't know. I'm not averse to setting this one out this year. We went 3 years straight. They've been nice runs. But until things become super cleared up, I would not want to risk, anything having to go there. And it's like you said, like, I don't want to have to spend money and the all chance that there's nothing that's going to be there that's going to be worthwhile. And no, I'm just not not to mention the fact that I ain't even start no cosplay putting together yet. I ain't even do that yet. So
yeah, I never do. I never do. I'm not going to do that until I get 6-pack abs.
So I'm going to be focused on losing weight too. I'm going to be doing that, and whatever they decide to do, whatever, as far as San Diego Comic-Con, whatever they decide to do as far as virtual, I think I'll just be down for it anyway, because New York, that's the one that we can usually make, but You know, I mean, I'm even thinking about the car show, because the car show is just like always fun to go to. But I'm even considering that right now because
and that's what's on in August. So again, I would have to look at what their capacity measures are, because even the car show can get crowded.
Yep.
Yeah, the car show usually is crowded, and that's what I'm looking at too. How many vendors are actually be sending actual representatives or just people on their behalf?
Right.
You know, because a lot of people are not going to, you know, send, you know, people on their behalf. And in that particular case, you can keep away from people. You can do a lot of mic standing. You can do a lot of mic posts. But how do you keep people from touching the cars?
Yes.
Yeah, because I want to get in the cars.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I do my car shopping.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, it's like you want, like, how do you stop them from getting in the cars? How do you sanitize between each person getting in the cars? You don't, you know. And like I said, doing cosplay with a mask on is not my idea of fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like unless you are going as a character who already has a mask.
Exactly.
You know, and like stormtroopers all the way at this point. You know.
I just now found comfortable masks. There's this lady that I found who was selling them on Facebook, and I had bought from a few people, and this one lady finally, after spending a ton of money, I bought 3 from her. So that I can have masks. So a lot of these masks are just uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I know I was talking to Ken about people complaining about having to wear one, and I'm like, listen, you don't have to wear one. You have to wear one for 20 minutes while you go into the grocery store. Like, calm down.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So imagine somebody wearing it throughout an entire convention.
Right.
Exactly. I do care for the people who have to wear it all day for work. But the people who seem to be complaining are the ones who wear it for 10 minutes while they're in the store.
Right.
You know, and the other thing as well, and I'm not trying to pick anybody out or anything like that, but I mean, I don't know about you, but I've also run into convention of people that aren't the cleanliest people.
Yeah, that's true also. That's very true as well.
You know,
so.
And, you know, and I've seen it, and I feel bad for the people that have to, like, that are in cosplay, and they're like, they're being nice and they're being sweet and they're being, you know, like they want to take a picture. I'm like, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So you legitimately just cannot get close.
Exactly.
So
think about people with kids. Like, you know, I've seen some awesome, I've seen some little kids and even babies and like awesome cosplays. You know, you ask the parents, can you take a picture? And, you know, Ken and I are respectful and we kind of stand back.
Mm-hmm.
Take our picture, but I've seen people get all pretty much crawl in the stroller with the baby trying to take a picture.
What?
Like, how do you do it?
I actually think I can actually go back into all my pictures that I've ever taken at Comic-Con, and I think I've only taken one of a child. And yeah, I think I've only taken one. And I don't know why, I just don't feel comfortable taking pictures of children.
Yeah, that is weird. I do take pictures of kids if it's like with a family, and you know, a family of cosplayers, or you know, if there was like a really cute baby, and I can't even remember who it was, but you know, it was with the mother. She was holding him, and that, you know, that felt better to me. But just having kids by itself, it's kind of weird to me too.
Right.
And actually, what I'll do is that I'll actually find that picture and I will put it up on the Discord. Actually, because I keep all my pictures.
Okay.
There it is. So. It's the cutest little picture ever too. And that was like the one picture I took of a kid, and I swore, I'm like, I will never take a picture of a kid because I just felt uncomfortable. But I'm like, yeah, I think it's a lot of people who have kids and they do a lot of that family cosplay and they do a lot of stuff. They're gonna be missing out, and it's gonna really, 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 you know, suck for them. But you know, all in all, I think it's with what they're doing with San Diego, I think is a great thing. It's not a long-term thing. It's just for right now.
Yeah.
Which I think it's fine. So definitely if, you know, they want to continue at New York Comic-Con, I'm not impartial to that. As long as I can get my content from New York Comic-Con, I don't mind spending the money to, you know, get the content I want out of that, to get the exclusives that I want, to be able to buy what I want out of it. Because that's really what I go for. I'm more of a spender than I am an interactor anyway. So I'll go there and I'll spend money. but I'll be more inclined to do that than actually to go in person, actually touch people, or to give us both the options. You know, if you want to pay for the full experience and you want to go, then yeah, go, but give me the option to stay at home.
Right.
And, you know, do something from here maybe. But
yeah,
let's see.
I mean,
like I said, we said we were going to make it short, but we ended up making it just as long.
Yeah, we really kind of did.
But I think that's all we have on that.
Yeah, that's well. I think we pretty much covered everything. So, I mean, as far as it stands, a lot of these things are going to be play-by-ear type of deals. We pretty much have an idea of what San Diego is going to be doing. A lot of the local ones, like we said, either canceled or just postponed until further notice. New York Comic Con, the ball is pretty much in their court as to what they're going to do. And
as of right now, it's still on as planned.
Yeah. I mean, but you heard it from us. I mean, as far as it stands, I'm okay not going this year. I don't think any of us are really too heartbroken, so to speak, you know, about it.
I mean, I haven't gone in 3 years from what haven't gone in 3 years, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, so you know.
And the goal that we wanted to accomplish was accomplished last year. He wanted to, you know, introduce a rising geek into the convention world, and we did that last year, luckily.
Yep. So far, as far as it stands, we made our bones at this point. You know, I'm okay waiting until next year. You know, if we're good by next year. So, you know. And as far as like announcements and stuff is concerned, there's always YouTube, Facebook, you know, Twitch, you know, Discord. People are finding many different ways to release their news and stuff, so it's not that much of a big deal anymore. You know, I know San Diego was the be-all, end-all usually for like the real big stuff, but you know, at this point right now, there's many different outlets, so. Aside from that, I think that's pretty much it. We've covered everything that we wanted to cover as far as conventions is concerned. Eventually, a lot of them will be back to prominence like before, and more than likely, this is probably going to give these conventions a little bit of time to reevaluate a lot of their business practices and stuff, and maybe fix a lot of the things for the next time where they can have a full-on convention. That's my hope. At the very least, that's my hope. You know, so. But other than that, definitely follow us if you've been watching. Thanks for watching. If not, definitely share this with all your friends. Again, YouTube, Facebook fan page, Instagram, Discord. You can definitely find us on all those platforms. The audio for this, the edited audio for this, will be up by tomorrow. Check all your podcast streaming platforms and stuff. We are more than likely we are on them, so definitely give us a listen if you can't watch. I want to thank Enigma's Girl, Dark Angel, and HB for joining us today. Today was had a rough start. Today. I don't know why that happened, but we picked it up right after. And if you guys planning on attending any you know, conventions at some point this year, depending on where you live, really just be careful. You know, just be careful. I know, like we said many times before, some states are better off than others. You know, we live in the tri-state area, so we're kind of in a hotbed right now, so we have to be extra careful. But those of you who have a pretty good standing as far as like the pandemic is concerned, you know, if you still got conventions there being held, go on and have fun. Just be careful. That's all I got to say. In any case, tune in next week. We will definitely let you guys know what we'll be talking about on next week's Geekcast. But I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Also, have fun Memorial Day weekend, because we really just remembered today that this weekend is Memorial Day weekend. Like, time's just been flying, so I know I forgot. I really just forgot. But, you know, enjoy your Memorial Day. Don't do anything too crazy. Hopefully it's a warm one so you can barbecue in your kitchen.
No, it's Memorial Day. Wait, what?
Yeah,
what weekend is it?
Yeah, Memorial Day is Monday.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah, Memorial Day.
Thursday, Friday. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Memorial Day is a whole Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys next week. And as always, the council
has spoken.
We will catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.